Good afternoon. Thank you for joining with me today. It's been a couple of weeks since we've gotten together on these videos of growing together with Christ, and coming from you from the living room of my home. And just wanted to share with you today what we talked about yesterday in regard to the reality of heaven. The reality of heaven. You know, the Bible talks a great deal about heaven. In Revelation chapter 21, going all the way into Revelation 22 through verse 6, it describes heaven. And the Bible talks in regard to heaven of three locations. Now, I want to give you those three locations, and then we're going to talk about the third location. Location number one, the first heaven is what we would call our atmosphere. And we see that in Genesis 1, verse 8, Exodus 20:11, where it discusses the atmosphere. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. When we talk about the heavens there, it is talking about our current atmosphere. Location number two is the universe. That is the galaxies, the planets, and the stars, etc., etc. And we see that in Genesis 1:14. And then thirdly, there is the third heaven, and that is the place or the abode of God. In the Old Testament, it is referred to as the heaven of heavens. But then in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 2 through 4, he discusses it as paradise. Now let me give you a biblical description of heaven. 2 Corinthians 12:4, the Apostle Paul described it as this. He said that I was caught up to paradise and heard things so astounding that they could not be expressed in words, things that no human is allowed to tell. So what will be in heaven? Now, I used to be and still am, they no longer print this cartoon, but there was a cartoon called The Far Side. And many, many times they had some very, very comical pictures and et cetera in the Far Side comics. And one very famous one is a man sitting on a cloud. He has a halo, he's in a white robe, and he's got wings on his back, and he just, the little cloud above him says this. It says, "I wish I'd brought a magazine." Well, you know, that is not what heaven is going to be about. So what will be in heaven? First, exquisite beauty and priceless wealth. We see that in Revelation 21:11, verse 21. Secondly, there will be people. We will know one another in heaven. There will be angels in heaven. Think of what the Apostle Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 4:13. "But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope." Revelation 22:2 says that there will be the river of life, and there will be the tree of life. Thirdly, there will be the Lamb's book of life. And then fourthly, the very presence of God. John Piper says this. He says, the critical question for our generation, and for every generation, is this: if you could have heaven with no sickness, and with all the friends you ever had on earth, and all the food you ever liked, and all the leisure activities you ever enjoyed, and all the natural beauties you ever say, all the physical pleasures you ever tasted, and no human conflict or any natural disasters, could you be satisfied with heaven if Christ was not there? So those are 5 things that will be in heaven. Now, let's talk about some things that will not be in heaven. I'm going to give you those things real quick, and they're all from Revelation chapter 21. No sorrow, no death, no boredom, no thirst, no limits, no temple, no sun, no moon, no fear, no night, no sin, no scarcity, no sickness, no curse, and no laziness. So here's the final question I want to give you. Where will you spend eternity when you die? Will you go to heaven, or will you go to hell? King Jesus said this, "Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. Will you be in heaven with Christ? How do you do that? Well, you repent and believe the gospel. You repent from the sin of unbelief and trust the gospel of the death and burial and resurrection of Jesus Christ. God bless you and have a great day, and we'll see you next week on Growing Together with Christ.